We're going to review writing polynomials in factored form. Here's our polynomial, 6 times the quantity x plus 2 squared plus 7 times the quantity x plus 2 minus 5. As always, when factoring, the first step is to look at your polynomial and see if there are any like items that you can divide out. So do they have a greatest common factor? As we look at the three terms for our polynomial, we see that they don't have anything alike, so there is no greatest common factor. The next thing that we're going to look for is what type of polynomial does this represent? And we can see that this represents a quadratic pattern. So we're going to use our quadratic patterns to help us factor the polynomial. Like we normally do, we could take the leading coefficient times the constant and ask ourselves, what times what gives us negative 30? We also have to ask ourselves, what plus what gives us that middle term, that linear term, of 7? Thinking about what we can multiply together to get 30 and add to get 7, we come to the conclusion that we can use a positive 10 and a negative 3. Because 10 times negative 3 is negative 30, and 10 plus negative 3 is 7. So we're going to rewrite our polynomial using those two terms to represent the linear. So we've got 6 times our quantity x plus 2 squared plus 10 times our quantity x plus 2 minus 3 times our quantity x plus 2 minus 5. Again, like we've seen before, when we have 4 terms, we can try factoring by grouping, splitting them into pairs and dividing out what they have alike. So looking at these first 2 terms, we see that being 6 and 10, we could divide out a 2. They also have the quantity x plus 2 in common, so we could divide that out. Here, looking at our last 2 terms, we could divide out a negative 1, and so this is what would result. The common items that we divided out from the 2 terms previously. At this point, we notice that both terms are being multiplied by the same item, 3 times our quantity x plus 2 plus 5. Well, what's being multiplied by that? That would be 2 times x plus 2 minus 1. So we're going to write that like so. At this point, you want to ask yourself, is this simplified form? Because factoring is breaking it into the most basic components. And looking within, I have some multiplying and probably combining like terms to do in each of those factors. So if we distribute our 3 here and we distribute our 2 here, this is what factors we're working with. And again, you want them in simplified form, so are there any other like terms that you can combine? So our 6 and 5 here, our 4 and negative 1 here. So our factored form would be 3x plus 11 times 2x plus 3.